Hello Internet. In this video I'll be unboxing and reviewing the NCrypt Cellular Pixel XL with the Copperhead operating system. I'll do this video in 3 parts: an unboxing part, second a part on living with the NCrypt device, and finally a conclusion with any recommendations. I'll update the YouTube video as I make the parts. So I'm not affiliated with NCrypt. This is my device that I paid for with my own money. I'm just making the kind of video that I find useful when deciding whether to purchase a new gadget. So if you haven't heard of NCrypt Cellular, they are producers of encrypted mobile devices with privacy and security as their top priority. They've got a commercial license with Copperhead, so all of the operating systems on their devices are fully supported by Copperhead, with patches and updates automatically pushed out. What I've bought is the NCrypt Cellular Pixel XL 1, so let's open up the box and see what we've got. Okay, so I have already opened up this box. There was some packaging material here, but for the purposes of the video, let's just pretend like it was the first time. So we've got an NCrypt USB flash drive, nice touch. NCrypt Cellular setup manual. A booklet on NCrypt's encrypted devices. And here is our Pixel XL 1 donor phone. So Copperhead is a Canadian ICT security firm, and their operating system is based on Android. They've done a complete security audit of the Android operating system and addressed all of the security vulnerabilities, tightened up the privacy, and just generally made improvements to the original design by Google. There's technical specs on both the NCrypt website and the Copperhead website if you're interested in exactly what they've done. So now let's fire up the device. Okay, that screen is just telling us that we've got a non-standard Android operating system on the phone. And now we're booting up the Copperhead operating system. Okay, that is setup complete. The phone's pretty much good to go out of the box. All I would need to do now is connect the Wi-Fi and load in my own SIM. There's no registering the phone or any annoying sign-ups for 5 different things as is standard with other smartphones. We're pretty much good to go out of the box. So moving on to the home screen, we've got the NCrypt widget here, which is also printed on the side of the box. If we go into the widget's charms or tokens, we've got our secure apps. So we've got secure calls, secure messaging, email, and browsing. And if I swipe up, here is the complete app stack or app suite that is loaded up by NCrypt. Each of the apps are free and open source software and all selected for their security and privacy features. So that's pretty much it for the unboxing. In the next part I'll talk about what it's like to live with an NCrypt device. What I haven't mentioned so far is that Copperhead have completely stripped out Google mobile services. This device is completely Google free despite being based on Android. So what it's like to live without Google and Why that is a good idea is something I'll talk about in the next part after I have lived with this device for a few weeks and seen how it performs. Okay, I'll talk to you then. Hello again, Internet. Welcome back to the second part of my review. In this part, I'll be discussing what it's been like to live with the NCrypt device. So let's break this product down and talk about the hardware, the operating system, and the app suite. So first up, we've got the hardware, the Pixel XL1 donor phone. So is the Pixel all it's cracked up to be? For me, the answer is yes, it definitely is. For me, everything here is good. It's solid in your hand, the screen is vibrant and responsive, and it has a surprisingly good speaker which takes the abrasiveness out of the alert tones. I think the Pixel is a great device and I've lived very happily with it. I won't talk any more about it as there's dozens of reviews already up. If you pick any sample of 5 or so, you'll have an accurate picture of what the Pixel is like. The only theme across reviews I disagree with is reviewers describing the Pixel as, quote, a pure Android experience. I disagree with that and would say an off-the-shelf Pixel is more a pure Google experience. An off-the-shelf Pixel has the full Google Mobile Services platform loaded onto it with everything from Gmaps to YouTube baked in, plus the Play Store as your app manager and Google Assistant, and the Android operating system is in there too. That to me is pure Google, not pure Android. I'd say that the Copperhead operating system is actually closer to a pure Android experience, as Google Services has been completely stripped out with only a hardened version of Android and the Pixel itself left. Now let's talk about the Copperhead operating system, and I have to say I'm very impressed. It's stripped back, clean, and minimalist, which I love. This is definitely the easiest mobile operating system I've driven, and everything is within the user's control. This operating system doesn't lead a second life of its own, feeding user and device data back to Google or some other OEM, tracking everything that you do. And if you do want to know exactly what is connecting and to what, the NetMonitor app comes standard on all NCrypt devices and gives a technical readout of exactly what has made an external connection. So for example, I can see Instagram here, and if I go in there, I can see technical details of its connection. So now I'll briefly point out a sample of the security features that I really liked on Copperhead. The first is MAC address randomization over Wi-Fi. So any device that connects over Wi-Fi, or Ethernet for that matter, has a unique physical identifier broadcast over the network. This setting here randomizes the device's physical identifier, its MAC address. And hope you can see that on the screen. I just changed the camera settings. If not, you'll just have to trust that it's there. So we can see that this switch is toggled on. If I were to swipe down, I'd get a readout of my Wi-Fi connection and see my MAC address. And I would also see that change every time I reconnected over Wi-Fi. So the second feature I'll point out is mobile network connection over 4G or LTE only. This setting restricts the phone's mobile network connection to 4G or LTE only. Sticking to 4G or LTE can help protect against some forms of man-in-the-middle attack and also downgrade attacks. Basically where an attacker forces a device to connect over an older generation mobile network like 2 or 3G, and using an exploit for the old network, the attacker can compromise communications or even the device. The 4G only setting keeps you on 4G and helps protect against those kinds of attack. So next is the always on VPN setting. This is basically a kill switch for all network traffic if your VPN connection is lost. You can see here the two VPNs I've got loaded on, Proton VPN and Orbot. And if I select the settings here on either of those and toggle these switches on, all network traffic will now be blocked if the VPN tunnel or Tor circuit is broken. This ensures all TCP traffic is going through the VPN of your choice, or Tor via Orbot. And the last security feature I'll point out is full encryption at the disk level by default. If I lock the device, as I just have, it's now fully encrypted using 256-bit AES at the file system layer. In lieu of an alternative method of attack, breaking that level of encryption is computationally infeasible. And when I unlock the device using my dummy pin, there's also a default setting that scrambles the configuration of the pin pad, which could help protect against a smudge attack or someone watching and inferring the pin over your shoulder if it were a standard pin pad configuration. So that's just a sample of the security features that I thought were really cool. Check out the Copperhead usage page for all the details. Thirdly, let's talk about the app suite compiled by NCrypt. I will state for this part of the video I've been in contact with NCrypt with some help desk style questions and for general Q&A on the device's features. I bought this device at the end of 2017, and in 2018 all new NCrypt devices will be sold with an updated app suite. So I've been doing some installing and uninstalling to reflect the 2018 apps since those conversations, and you can customize the NCrypt widget so that all the latest apps appear in the shortcut windows. So there's no time to go through all the apps, but my broad summary is, out of the box, there's an elevated level of baseline privacy and security, in addition to that provided by the Copperhead operating system, that's standard across the apps. Which for me as a non-technical end user is pretty well sufficient. I mostly stick to out-of-the-box solutions. For instance, Noise, Copperhead's Signal Messenger fork that doesn't require Google Cloud services to work. But the device isn't limited there. If you're more technically capable, the device supports users generating their own PGP key pairs. It has a secure email client, an XMPP client, and supports encrypted SMS over the old-fashioned telecommunications network, which is handy if you're in a no mobile data area. Now, a last word on apps. My first question when thinking of purchasing this device was, if it doesn't have access to the Play Store, how do I get apps? Well, the device comes with two solutions. First is the F-Droid open source software repository, and second is the Yelp Store, a proxy to the Google Play Store. Yelp accesses the Play Store and downloads apps on your behalf without needing to install Google Play locally. There's update notifications through Yelp, and it's worked near perfectly for me. Some apps, of course, rely on Google services and won't work without it. The rideshare apps, Uber, Lyft, and Taxify, all fall into this category, in my country at least. But there's a solution for that too. You can just log into the Uber mobile app, get your ride, log out when you're done, and that also stops Uber tracking your location when it's not in use, which is a better solution than the actual app anyway, right? So that concludes my living with the NCrypt device part of this video. This product is well integrated across the three components we've just discussed, and I've been very satisfied that the claims to privacy and security are supported. In the next and final part of this video, I'll add conclusions and recommendations to cap off this video. Thanks, and talk to you again then. Hello again, Internet. Welcome to the last part of this video where I'll cap off with recommendations and conclusions. So first, my personal conclusion. This has been my primary device for a little over 4 months now, and switching from an off-the-shelf Android phone to an NCrypt Copperhead device did require some adjusting to, for the sole reason that Google Mobile Services has been stripped out. Sometime before buying this device, I had already started breaking away from Google. Why I did that is something I'll revisit shortly. For now, back to the device, and making the final break with Google did nevertheless take some adjusting to. A few months down the track now, I've adjusted and none of that's an issue anymore, and I'm living happily with the device. As mentioned before, it's uncluttered, there's no bloatware, and no behind-the-scenes data harvesting. It's easy to take back a lot of control over how your data is used and who gets access to it with this device. I've dug as deep into its features as a tech-savvy, non-technical end user can, and am satisfied that NCrypt's claims to privacy and security are supported by the product. So would I recommend this device? Well, that's a context-dependent question, right? Is data privacy and security high on your list of criteria? If it's not, and you just want fast convenience in your device without consideration for where the personal information it collects goes, then this device probably isn't for you. You wouldn't pay the premium, and I doubt that person is even watching this video anyway. At the other extreme, if data privacy and security is high on your list and you're a very technically capable end user, then this device probably isn't for you either. If you know how to flash your device, get root access, and load custom ROMs without leaving bigger security vulnerabilities than the ones you're trying to patch, then of course it's possible to garage build a device with the same specs. If you can do that, then paying the premium on top of the donor phone probably isn't worth your money. So that leaves people in the middle, non-technical end users who are concerned with data privacy and security and who want solutions they'd be unable to build themselves and can't get from mainstream OEMs. If you fall into that category, then yes, I would definitely recommend this device. For a premium on top of an off-the-shelf donor phone, you can get a professionally built device that is private and secure by design. And as you learn more, you can take that level of baseline security further as much as you want. All the code is open source, so it's auditable by experts, and it's built by professionals whose bread and butter is the creation of secure devices. So if data privacy and security is something you're concerned about but aren't a super technically advanced user, I would definitely recommend this device. To conclude this video, I'll make some closing remarks on why you might consider switching to an encrypted smartphone. If you've got this far through the video, you've probably detected the incongruity of me talking about breaking off from Google on a YouTube video reviewing a Google Pixel XL. And you're right, Google services and products basically brought you this video. I have no issue with Google, its products, or services. They're amazing. Google and its parent company Alphabet don't dominate the tech world because they're not good at what they do. What I think should be questioned is not Google's services, but the way in which we pay for Google services. And not just Google services, but how we pay for most tech services. And how do we pay? Well, I think a picture tells 1,000 words, and I love this cover of The Economist from last year, depicting the 21st century tech giants as miners, not of oil and resources, but of data. We pay for their services with our digital identities. The modern tech giants pictured are in large part data collection and analytics organizations who, in lieu of payment in currency, harvest user data in such depth that should give everyone cause to pause and reflect on. If you ever use a tech service and make no explicit payment, Make no mistake, you are the payment. You and unfettered access to your private digital life is the payment. Personally, I'm not comfortable with that kind of a deal. That's a no sale for me. And one of the alternatives I found was an encrypted smartphone, which I'm very happy with. Of course, it's not just tech companies that harvest user data for purposes other than what the data was originally created for. The other two groups are obviously black hat hackers and nation states. We certainly want to take no chances protecting ourselves from black hats who may try to defraud or steal from us, and an encrypted smartphone is a pretty good start there. For the latter group, there are certainly legitimate circumstances when a nation state's intelligence organizations may gain access to private user data in the course of an investigation or to prevent some act of violence. However, we live in an unprecedented time where dragnet surveillance can be easily carried out on whole populations, gathering vast quantities of data on everyone, not just legitimate targets of surveillance or intelligence operations. Getting into that debate is well beyond the scope of this video, so I'll close here and recommend a docu-movie called Nothing to Hide that deals precisely with this issue. Check out the debate covered in that movie, reflect on it, and come to your own conclusions. I've put a link to Nothing to Hide below, and I do hope it gets you thinking. That's all for this video. Thanks again for watching, and talk to you next time.